And welcome everyone to today's instructional technology seminar on screencasting for your online course. I'm Dave Giberson. I'm an old retired instructional design coordinator from Online Learning Pathways at the SDCCD. They've asked me to come back and help out with this unusual situation we find ourselves in. So I'm delighted to be here with you all today. It's nice to see a good turnout. Gosh, we've almost got 20 people for a Friday morning for a what I think is a very important technique, a very important session for online learning. This is a multimedia creation technique, video basically with audio, and it is exceptionally important for online learning, though it's useful no matter what way you're teaching, what modality you're teaching your course in, because it allows you to create tutorials, lectures, just about any sort of instructional video that you can imagine. Indeed, you're limited really only by your imagination. Share them with your students online so that your students can watch them anytime, as often as they like, fast forwarding through the parts they don't need, backing up and playing the parts that they don't quite understand multiple times. It's just a tremendous tool that will allow anyone to create sophisticated multimedia presentations. Is really quite simple to do. It's realistic to teach people how to get started in a couple hours. Indeed, if you're sticking with just limited options, you can learn how to do this in about 10 minutes, and you can be putting useful videos online for your students the same day you start thinking about it. It's just an incredibly easy to learn technique, easy to implement, and it's very efficient. You can create lots of instructional video for your students in a relatively short period of time so that you can actually produce enough of this that it can have a significant impact on your students' learning. And and video is an exceptionally information-dense medium. We've all heard the old saying about a picture in 1,000 words. Well, a video is anywhere from about 15 to 30 pictures a second. So how many words is that worth? Well, it's debatable, but it is an exceptionally efficient way to transfer information. And it's a way that you can explain complex concepts much more easily for you and much more effectively for your students than in print in most cases. Many times you can, with a short video, you can convey more information than you can in pages of text. And it's more palatable to your students in many ways, and it's much clearer. So screencasting is a video production technique, and it's about as simple, the concept is about as simple as you can imagine. Screencasting is just recording your computer screen. It's related to so-called screenshots, where you just take a picture of your computer screen and paste that into a Word document or a website or a Canvas page and share that information with your students. But it's not just a still image. It's a movie, a video recording of your screen and everything that appears on it. So that when your students view a recording of it later, they'll see everything that they would have seen if they were sitting in your office and looking over your shoulder at your computer screen. Screencasting usually also involves audio recording through a microphone. That will allow your students to hear what you're talking about or hear what you're saying as you're showing them something on your screen. So it's a very simple idea. You just translate that to a recording that can go online, that the students can watch anytime they like, as often as they like. And that's real power. It's the single most powerful instructional technique that I know. And it's something I've been doing since the early 90s. I've got screencasts with copyright dates of like 1992 and 1993. And it used to be a lot harder to do. It used to be you had to do some hardware tinkering, and the quality was, quite frankly, a little rough. But it allowed you to get ideas across. But it was quite expensive and quite difficult to do. These days, the cost is trivial. And with screencasting software that started coming out in the early years of the 21st century, it's dirt simple to do. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you some examples of some things you can do with screencasting to try to give you a few ideas, but I hope you won't let yourself be limited by my imagination. I've been grading the 2.7 assignment in the training course lately, in the online faculty training course, and I've seen so many imaginative and incredibly instructive screencasts in there as submissions to that assignment. I'm just thrilled with the sophistication, the imagination of people using screencasting at the district. And it's kind of gratifying because I was one of the first people many years ago to teach that at the district. So it's wonderful to see what you all are doing out there. And I hope to have a bunch more active screencasters after this session today, because it is so simple and it's so powerful. All right, I think I've said that about 6 times now. That's probably enough. Let's go and talk about it and see exactly what we're going to be talking about. Let me share my screen and get this out of the way. And here's our outline for today, just mainly so I don't forget, which is getting to be more and more of a problem as time goes along. We've done the screencasting overview pretty much. Now I'm going to show you some things you can do, some screencasts that we already have, or I'll demonstrate those as we demonstrate some of the tools down here. These are just a few things, though, that you can do with screencasting. You can obviously do computer tutorials, showing people how to use software. Just anything that comes up. Remember, screencasting allows you to record anything that comes up on your computer screen. So you can show people how to do something in Word, or how to use Excel. You can there are entire. I know of faculty who have entire collections of Excel tutorials or Photoshop tutorials, demonstrating how to use complex pieces of software. There's just no better way to do that, because people actually see you using the software. You're not talking about it, you're showing them what you're doing. The next two are sort of related: PowerPoint narrations and lecture capture. You can take your PowerPoint presentations and pull them up on your computer screen and record yourself talking your way through your PowerPoint slides, just as you would do in a live classroom. Only you record it, and then your students can play it back whenever they like. And if they just miss something on one slide, they can scrub forward to that one slide and listen to that and watch and see it, and then move on. and get the information they need very efficiently. And a narrated PowerPoint presentation is orders of magnitude more valuable to your students than just putting your PowerPoint slides into Canvas and sharing your slide deck with them. Because most of the information delivered in a PowerPoint presentation is in the narration, not in the slides, which are usually just talking points. So the value to your students is tremendous. Does it take a little bit longer than just putting the PowerPoint presentation up on Canvas? Well, yeah, but sooner or later, you're going to have to present that PowerPoint presentation, right? You're going to have to actually narrate it in class. Well, you can do that sitting in front of your computer. It won't take any longer than doing it in class. And you can do it live, and you can record that. Of course, I'm sneaking up on Zoom here, which is one of the best screencasting tools out there. But you can do that and record it, and vastly cut down the number of times you're ever going to have to do that presentation again. I had a colleague come to me very depressed one day, just giving a lecture in his English 101 class, and he was computing the number of times he was going to have to give that lecture again before he died. And with screencasting, the answer is, well, potentially just one more time. Then you can move on to something else. That certainly brightened up his day. This is a tremendous amplifier of your effort. You can record something and not have to do it nearly as many times over and over and over again, so you can move on to new things that are even break new ground, cover new territory for your students. So it's a tremendous productivity amplifier, as well as a convenience and a valuable resource for your students. That lecture capture, of course, is basically recording what you do live in a classroom. That can involve a narrated PowerPoint, or it can involve you talking and lecturing to your students using a whiteboard or a whiteboard replacement like a document camera. And that can be done face-to-face in the classroom if you have your laptop and your screencasting software with you, or you can do it during a Zoom meeting and capture that. And everything that you say and do and show is recorded for your students so they can play it back later. Another screencasting application I'm going to show you today is to use it for student feedback. You can, particularly if students submit homework to you in electronic form, which most of you are going to, coming up, the fall semester coming up, they're going to have to do almost all of their homework submissions that way. And you can bring those submissions up on your screen and talk about them and mark them up and provide students with feedback that's almost as good as having the student sitting next to you in your office with their work on your desk and a blue pencil, and you give them individualized feedback on how well they did and how to improve their work. That type of interaction is just pedagogical gold for the students, and it's something with a screencast you can do remotely and asynchronously. You can pull up the student's work and talk about it and mark it up and generally critique it, and then provide the screencast to them so they can get almost the same experience as they would have if they'd come and visited you face-to-face during your office hours And of course, neither one of you has to risk getting COVID that way. And of course, we have all these other wonderful communication tools that they can use to get back to you, to question you and ask questions about the feedback and interact with you. And these are just a few of the things that you can do with screencasting. Just remember, anything that comes up on your computer screen can be recorded, along with your voiceover. That can be stored online, and the students can play it back later to their heart's content as often as they like. They can play parts of it, they can fast forward and reverse through it. It's just a tremendously valuable instructional technique. So the question becomes, how do you do it? Well, one of the best things about it to start off with is you can do it for free. The tools, I'm just talking about it with one exception. I'm talking about tools here that are either free or very inexpensive to you. And of course, your students don't have to pay anything to view the results. The other wonderful thing about it is that, as I've said before today, and I'll keep saying, it's easy for you. Learning to screencast takes very little time because it's such an instinctive activity. You're just pulling stuff up on your computer screen and talking about it. And especially now with so many of us using Zoom, it's, that's gotten to be second nature for most of us. And anything with screencasting, anything that appears on your screen can be recorded and provided to your students. So let's talk about the free tools first. There are two of them here that are completely free to you. And the first one, of course, is Zoom. What am I doing right now? I'm screencasting. I've shared my screen with you. So you're seeing it, you're hearing me talk about it, but Zoom in the background is recording this. This will be online tomorrow, and you can play it back. Or anyone who wasn't here can play it back. Zoom is probably the single most used screencasting tool right now. And you, of course, have free access to pro Zoom accounts through Confer Zoom. So this is totally free to you. You can, once you record your Zoom session, you can either have it just go straight to the Zoom cloud, in which case you don't have to do anything to get that recording to happen. Or you can record to your local computer and then upload the recording to YouTube. We have tutorials, of course, for both. Indeed, on our Open On Demand site, if I go to the home page, when you first drop in, you see a little slideshow at the top of the screen that highlights some of our tutorials. And the first one that comes up now is a Zoom Basics page. It's not just one tutorial, it's several tutorials linked together, starting from how do you get a Zoom account to going through starting an account, starting a Zoom meeting, joining a Zoom meeting, running a Zoom meeting, and recording a Zoom meeting. That's all there. And this will show you how recording a Zoom meeting to the Zoom cloud is nothing more than just clicking the record button in the Zoom menus and say, record to cloud, the Zoom cloud. If you don't see, if you're using a Confer Zoom account, which I assume you will be, and you don't see an option when you click record, it just says, okay, the recording started, then you're recording to the Zoom cloud. That's the default with the Confer Zoom accounts. You have to change a setting in your Confer Zoom account in order to also be able to record to the local computer. Either one works fine. Just depends on how anal retentive you are about wanting to maintain control of your own recordings. I like to send my recordings, like to record to the local computer and send it to, then upload it to YouTube. That takes just a few minutes more, a couple of minutes more per recording. And it's a couple extra steps, but I retain control of my recordings that way. And I keep a local copy that I don't have to go to the Zoom cloud and download if I want to keep it. And also you get a little bit better video quality, particularly on the shared screens with the recording to your local computer and uploading to YouTube. But it's not that significant. There's nothing wrong with recording your Zoom sessions to the Zoom cloud and then just linking, putting the link to that recording into Canvas. The excuse me, the reduction in quality is very minimal. The only issue with the Zoom cloud that is really proven to be of any concern at all is that you have a limited amount of storage space in the Zoom cloud. I think it's 1 gigabyte per account, which you can use up. Zoom recordings are fairly large files, and they, if you do a lot of that, you may eventually run out of room in your Zoom cloud, in which case there is a way that you can download them from the cloud and put them on YouTube. So it's not a major issue right away. But we cover, of course, all that in our introductory Zoom sessions, so I don't want to spend too much time on that right now. I want to focus on some other screencasting tools. But to tell you the truth, if I were getting started with screencasting, I'd be tempted just to use Zoom at this point because it's an excellent tool. And you're probably already familiar with holding and recording Zoom sessions. If you're not, we'd love to see you in our introduction to Zoom, which is coming up pretty soon. But so you're already basically screencasting. If you want to create just the screencast part of the Zoom meeting, in other words, just to record your computer screens and produce a fairly brief, compact tutorial focused on a particular concept or some piece of software, whatever, you can just start a Zoom meeting without anybody else in it, share your screen, and then start the recording and show and talk about whatever you need to, and then stop the Zoom session and send the recording either to the Zoom cloud or to YouTube. And it's something you're familiar with. So there's really no learning, and most of you are already familiar with, so there's really no learning curve. This is more of just getting you, I'm just trying to get you thinking in those terms. Gee, you know, I'm teaching Excel and I got to show my students how to do a vertical lookup table today. And that's a little hard to explain in text, even if you have pictures. You really need to show students how to do that. And you could do that, you can't do that in the classroom anymore. So you can just throw up a Zoom meeting and with nobody else in it and record it. Or you can just use the recordings of your live Zoom meetings. It's all screencasting. As long as you're recording your screen, it's screencasting, or sharing your screen and recording that. So it's the easiest entry into screencasting that you'll ever have. But there are some other tools that have some advantages over Zoom. That's kind of a value added benefit for Zoom. But there are a lot of screencasting tools that are designed specifically to do that. They will typically produce a slightly higher quality of video, which can be important if you're recording screens that have very small print on them or something like that, so that your students can, you know, the screen is sharp enough for the students to see it. And some of these tools are also a little bit more efficient in terms of the amount of time it takes you to actually do the recording and get it online. Some of them are extremely efficient in that regard. And some of them also give you automated ways to load, most of them give you automated ways to load your produced screencasts onto YouTube, so that you don't have to go through the process of manually uploading a Zoom recording to YouTube if you want your recordings on YouTube. So the next one, the first one I'm going to talk about, is actually an exciting bit of news for me. Some of you may have used, for some years ago, a free introductory screencasting tool called Jing, J-I-N-G. Jing was the entry level screencasting tool, totally free, from a company called Techsmith, that got a lot of people started in screencasting. And over the years, it didn't get a lot of attention from the company that made it, and it grew outdated. The types of video files it produced became very difficult to share with people, or became difficult for your students to play those files back and things like that, because their computers typically no longer had the player software needed. So Jing pretty much fell out of use. And Techsmith finally got the message that, okay, probably they need to update that and produce a new free introductory tool for screencasting. And they have just in the last month announced that, and they've called it Techsmith Capture. It is the only completely free, decent screencasting tool I know. Zoom for anyone. Zoom is free to you because you get those Zoom Pro accounts through Confer Zoom that are paid for by the state chancellor's office, but somebody pays for Zoom. Though you can get a completely free Zoom account that you can use for screencasting, that the only real limitation is your screencast can't be more than 40 minutes. Trust me on this, you don't want them to be longer than that. You don't want them to be anything near that long if you're not doing like a live meeting where you've got interaction and so on. There's been a lot of research done on the consumption of instructional video by students. And generally, if your screencast is more than about 5 minutes long, you're losing a lot of people. Indeed, by the time you get to 7 minutes, you've statistically lost everyone. Somebody may be hanging on. Because let's face it, it's not Grey's Anatomy. And people like to watch video online, but let's just say the shorter, when you create a screencast, you want it to be as short as it can possibly be to cover the material that you intend to cover. And it's better to chunk your content, your instructional content, into small enough bits that you can cover it in a 5 to 10 minute screencast if you're providing it to your students that way. So that 40-minute limitation on a free Zoom account is not really a limitation. It's probably more of a good practice. So Zoom, I guess, is completely free if you go that route. But Techsmith Capture is as well. And it's exceptionally efficient. It is a little piece of software that runs in the background on your computer. It will work on either a Mac or a Windows machine. I'm showing it on a PC here. Excuse me. And indeed, I have it running all the time in the background. So I don't have to go and start it, find my Zoom client and start it, though I usually have that running too. But I don't have to go and start a Zoom meeting and say, okay, I want computer audio, and then get everything set up and click record. Techsmith Capture is just sitting there anytime I need it. It lives on a Windows PC in the system tray down in the lower right here. There's a little, and I hope you can see this. Let me see, can I blow that up? I don't think that will blow up. No, darn it, it won't. So I can't really magnify that too well, but the system tray is down here all the way at the bottom of your Windows screen. You have some little icons. You have your date and time. You have a speaker icon usually that allows you to control the volume of your speakers. There is often a little networking icon, and then there's a little up caret, and that's called the system tray. And if you click on that, you see a bunch of things that are running that you can use. And this little icon, which is a square, it's kind of golden, it's a square, is Techsmith Capture. If I click on that, boom, the Capture control panel pops up. It's just sitting there waiting for me all the time. So that's a lot quicker than starting up Zoom. It is, here's the icon that you're looking for. It's a little square with a little Techsmith logo in all in kind of glowing gold. So how do I screencast using this? Well, there's a big red button. There's not much to it. You just click that big red button when you're ready. And the first thing that happens is that it asks you to select the portion of your screen that you want to record. So you can record any section of your screen. I hate to try to keep up with exactly what part of the screen I'm recording, and I inevitably end up trying to record something that I haven't included in the capture window, and so on. So I just habitually record the full screen, which you can do very quickly by just clicking on this little full screen button here at the top of the screen. And that selects that. I trust you're still hearing me. These things can be a little problematic. Then you get a little control bar that pops up. Capture, like Jing, allows you to capture either a static screenshot, and indeed it's a great static screenshot tool, or capture a screen video, a screencast. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to click that little camera, and I get another control bar that basically says, okay, you're ready. If you click this red record button here, you will be recording. This right here shows that you are recording your microphone. And if you see the little green bar bouncing, you know it's working. If you don't, you can select the proper microphone. I've got more than one here. So, but I like that one, so I'll just leave that one on. You should see some significant deflection of that green bar. It doesn't have to go all the way across, but you should see a significant amount of deflection there. If you don't, your recorded sound is going to be too soft. So you want to be careful of that. And we have some tutorials that show you how to go in and adjust your microphone levels if you need to on PC or Mac. Capture will also allow you to record your system audio. That's what comes through your speakers. You can turn that on. That's on with the little, well, it's saying off, but that's because if I click here, it's going to turn it off. If you see the little waves coming out of the speaker, it's on. Or if you click it again, that turns it off. I don't recommend leaving that on unless you know you're going to be doing something like playing a video during your screencast recording. Then you need to record what's coming through your speakers. Otherwise, sometimes you can get a feedback setup. So don't turn that on unless you need it, but it does work quite well if you do. So, you know, in what, 3 mouse clicks, I'm ready to go. And this thing was just sitting in my system tray waiting for me. So click, 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 and I'm ready to record. When I click the record button, it counts me down. And now I am recording using Techsmith Capture. Anything that appears on this monitor will be recorded. I could, for instance, show you how to find Techsmith Capture using Techsmith Capture. I could open up a new tab in my browser and go and just Google Techsmith Capture. This first link, by the way, there's a mobile version of this that you can use to record the screen on your smartphone or your iPad. Though there are other ways to do that that are probably just as effective. But here's the computer version of it, the Jing replacement. So I can just click there and go to the Techsmith Capture page. It's a free download. I just click there. It works on either PC or Mac. So I can just click Windows Download. The installer will download. I can put it wherever I like. Techsmith has a way of using a very generic file name for its installer on all its products. It's just setup.exe. So you got to put this somewhere carefully that you know which one it is. And you just save that. And it already exists. Sure, I'll replace it. That's fine. In Chrome, of course, you get a little biscuit down here in the corner that allows you to just start that setup. It's very, very simple. I'm not going to run it again. You won't have any trouble running that setup, and it only takes 15-20 seconds to install Capture. So there's nothing to getting it. I don't know what would happen if I tried to reinstall it while I'm using it, so I'm going to avoid that right now. This is how Chrome handles downloads. Other browsers are a little bit different, but they're all pretty simple. So I'm still recording here. If I have a sudden brain freeze, I can always go up and pause the recording. Now you're hearing me through Zoom, but Techsmith or Capture is no longer hearing me or recording anything. And then I can instantly click that red button and I'm recording again. So you don't have to do this in one take, as it were. And there is I believe, a keyboard shortcut for that too, that you can do on the keyboard. You may not want this bar in your recording. You can either just pull it down out of the way, he said. It's being recalcitrant right now. Starting over. No, I don't want to start over. Whoa, resume. There we go. But this started out off on another screen. If you have multiple screens on your computer, this will automatically hide itself. I had to, in order to show it to you, I had to drag it over. All right. Once you're done with your screencast, you just click the stop button, the big square, which is universal stop symbol for VCRs and video software. And Capture almost immediately gives you a preview of what you've just recorded. You can play it to see if it looks and sounds okay. And now I am recording using Techsmith Capture. Anything that appears on this monitor will be recorded. The sound quality is quite good. The screen resolution is excellent. Of course, that depends on the resolution you have your screen set to, your monitor, but that's generally not a problem these days. Everybody's using very high quality monitors and video cards. The recording has been made. You can scrub through it to make sure you remembered everything and so on. And people can see this very easily later. And now, when you're done, things get very simple. Whereas if you're doing this with Zoom, if you're recording to the Zoom cloud, it's going to be a little while. It goes to the Zoom cloud, and then you'll have to go and find it in the Zoom cloud and get the link to it from the Zoom cloud, and then put that into Canvas in a hyperlink for your students as an external URL in a module, or a hyperlink in a Canvas page, or in an announcement or whatever. But that will take some time. Here, to get this online, there's one button. Down here in the lower right, let me bring that up so you can see it a little better. There's this button labeled Upload to Screencast. What does that mean? Well, it means that this is the only thing you can do. You just click that button, and Capture proceeds to automatically send this to a hosting site owned by Techsmith, by the company that makes this software, called Screencast.com. They basically invented screencasting, so they have that domain. It's they've been at this a long time. Techsmith's first screencasting product was called Camtasia, and it came out in the late 90s, in the 20th century. So immediately you're provided with the link to that. You don't even have to worry about where Screencast.com is or anything like that. You're provided with the link, and you can copy that to the clipboard. And then you can put that link into Canvas. Same way you would with your Zoom cloud, except you get it bang, bang, instantly. Screencast.com is a paid service, but that has a free tier. If you click that Upload to Screencast.com button in Capture and you don't have a Screencast.com account, you will be prompted to create one. It's a very simple process, and you get a certain amount of storage and a certain amount of bandwidth for free. Specifically, you get 2 gigabytes of storage, which is enough to hold a lot of screencasts, because these files aren't very big, unlike the Zoom recordings. These are much smaller. But the real limitation is that you get only 2 gigabytes of bandwidth a month. What that means is, let's say if a screencast is 5 megabytes, every time one person plays it, you use 5 megabytes worth of bandwidth. So 2 gigabytes is 2,000 megabytes of bandwidth. That's still a lot, but it's probably not enough if you make a lot of screencasts, or if they're lengthy screencasts, or if you have a lot of students who are going to be playing it, that you can run out of bandwidth in a month. And you can pay them $10 a month and you get more bandwidth than you'll ever use, but it's really nice to do things for free. So Techsmith Capture is especially useful for short screencasts that are not going to be played by a massive number of people. And that makes it an ideal tool for student feedback on submitted assignments. It is just an ideal tool for that because it's so quick. It's to use and it's quick to finish. It's quick to get it online and provide the link to the students. It's much more efficient than using, say, Zoom for that. It's more efficient than using any of the other tools I know, except for a tool from Techsmith called Snagit. Snagit is basically, or a Capture, I should say, is basically a limited version of Snagit. It has almost the same interface and works almost the same way. Snagit is a tool that costs $30 a month, or I'm sorry, $30, period, not a month. $30 once in your life, unless you want to upgrade it later, in which case I'll charge you $15 for a major upgrade. And those happen about once every year or two. But you don't have to take them. I've got versions of Snagit from 10 years ago that still work fine. But Capture is just kind of a limit. They've taken part of Snagit and made Capture. And to tell you the truth, Capture does most everything I need to do. The one thing I wish it did do, and the one thing they won't let it do because it would cannibalize their market for Snagit, is they won't let it upload directly to YouTube. Because there you have unlimited bandwidth. They're trying to sell you a Screencast.com account here. But anyway, it's just so, admittedly, it doesn't seem that fast while I'm blathering about it. But to make let's make another Capture screencast and do the student feedback application. I can just get rid of that because it's always sitting in my system tray down here. I can pull it up anytime I need it. So let me go to Canvas. And go to a sample course where I've got an assignment waiting for me to grade. This is an old online flex course on screencasting, as a matter of fact, that I've retasked as just a sample Canvas course. And I use it you've all seen this, most of you, many times. But that's what this was originally used for. So I've got a submission in here, if I go to the gradebook, for a homework assignment that I called Define Screencasting. Here's what the homework assignment looked like. In your own words, define the term screencasting, list 3 applications for it, and list hardware and software requirements. Well, you could probably do that right now. And please upload your answer as a Word document. Well, let's go and look at a sample student's submission for this assignment. Here's my submission icon in the gradebook in Canvas. I just click on that, click the right arrow here to go to the speed grader for that assignment. And here the student has very correctly uploaded this as a Word document because I see what they've submitted, and I have my markup tools here. And I can do a lot of commenting on this and so on asynchronously. That is where the students would, I can just drop in feedback over here with these markup tools. I can type comments. I can record a little talking head video right from within Canvas, but that's of limited utility for something like this. If I want to give feedback on this, specifically on this submission, screencasting is an ideal way to do that. And I've got my Capture sitting down here in my system tray. I can just bing, bing, 2 clicks, and I've got Capture ready to go. I can click the red button. I can just take the full screen, and I can, this bar was over on another screen. I'll just bring this over here where I can see it. I can tell it I want to capture a video, make a screencast, in other words. I can check that my audio is working, and I can hit the record button. So bing, 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 bing. And now I'm recording this screen. So I can look at this, say screen digital video, screencast, or just one of many types. So it's recording your computer screen, and usually includes audio narration. That's acceptable as a definition, certainly. Here's something I'd like to highlight. Yeah, that's great. 80% of viewers can recall a video if they've seen it in the last 30 days. This number is not nearly so high if they read it. Video makes an impression that reading just doesn't make, or even hearing it doesn't make. Seeing it and hearing it makes a tremendous difference in terms of retention. So that's another reason why screencasting is such a powerful technique. So I'm going to highlight that and use my little highlight tool here to leave a comment in Canvas. But I'm recording this live. Lots better than reading! Exclamation point. So I can, but I didn't even have to do that here. I could just highlight it and talk about it, right? And they're gonna hear that too. But this is the sort of thing I can do with the markup tools here. I can also just add some text to this. Like I asked for 3 applications, and he only gave me 2. Well, I can go down here and put in a third one, say, how about student feedback? I'm recording all this. Tools, well, yeah, Camtasia is a great screencasting tool, but it's kind of expensive. It costs an educator. Somebody with an EDU email address can get it for $179. Otherwise, it's over $300, I think. There are cheaper ways to do that. How about Capture? Screencast-O-Matic. And I'm recording all this. So I could just have said that. Didn't necessarily have to type it, though it's nice to have both that'll be saved for the student as well in Canvas. I can do things like just draw freehand on this. So I can just circle things. I can highlight a paragraph and talk about it. So it's a great way to go to blue pencil a student's writing assignment, say, and recording everything that you do. And it's almost as fast as doing it with a blue pencil on a piece of paper. And indeed, once you've done it a few times, it is just as fast. So I'm given very rich feedback to this student. And then, of course, I can go over here and say, well, that's not too bad. I do have a rubric for this, so I can say, yeah, that's a good complete definition, but you only gave me 2 applications instead of 3, so I'm going to give you credit for that. And I asked for hardware and software requirements. You didn't really address that. You did give me one for Camtasia, but you also need a microphone to do a screencast, though not all screencasts have sound. The vast majority of them do. So you probably need a microphone. You do need a software tool. Of course, you need a computer as well. So there are a few things that were left out here. So I'm going to give maybe 1 point for that. And save that. That total points then is 8. So I didn't have to add that up in my head. And fine. I think I'm done with the screencast. I'm just going to stop that. And once you've done a few recordings, you realize that it just works. You don't have to worry about previewing it. So you just upload it to Screencast. So bang, bang. It's being uploaded. It shouldn't take long. Indeed, it usually does not. You don't want this feedback to go on forever. So just a few minutes are probably all you need. Bang, there it is. Copy it to the clipboard. Okay. And Canvas gives me a little option to upload a file attachment, which I could do. But in this case, all I really have to do is put the link to this thing in the assignment comments. Link, sorry, link to feedback. And submit. And now I can go on to the next one. Bang. And the next one. And the next one. Just that fast. It's with Capture, this is incredibly fast. If you're having to do this with Zoom or even with Screencast-O-Matic, it takes a lot longer. Just in some cases, just a few seconds to half a minute longer. But multiply that by the number of students and the number of submissions you have. And that makes providing this kind of really rich student feedback kind of a big investment in time. With Capture, or with its big brother Snagit, you can do it bang, bang, bang. It's actually, to me, once you've done it a few times, it's faster than typing out feedback. And it's so much richer. And it's free. And only one person is going to, yes, go ahead. Somebody got a question. I better know what it is.
Yes, this is Kathy Campbell.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi. I know we could use the film of the viewing on Canvas, right? Because couldn't you just do a video right on Canvas? What's the advantage to using the Techsmith?
Because that little video on Canvas, you're talking about this tool right here.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that is just a talking head.
Okay, so it
you
could
can't
only
do a
view
screencast. You can't, yeah, it would be you. And if all you need to do is talk to the student and make eye contact and not bring their work up and talk about it, so they can see it while you see it, this is fine. Indeed, I use this a lot when I'm grading the 2.7 assignment in the training course, because all I really need to do is provide feedback and encouragement. I'm not really trying to provide instruction. So this is a great tool if you don't need to record your screen, but it won't do that.
That's important. Okay, thank you.
And Capture is just about as fast, though, as this one, because it's just sitting down here in your system tray. So you can get to it just as fast as you can get to this one, and you have all this other rich capability with it. And that you don't really have to worry about your bandwidth limits on screencast.com here, because these are usually quite short, and one person's going to view it probably one time on average. So it's not going to use very much bandwidth. So this is probably the ideal application of Techsmith Capture.
Dave,
there is another issue. Yes.
That's okay if you want to finish.
Oh, no, please. You may be about to ask what I was about to say.
Well, I haven't done a whole lot of grading in Canvas because I'm using another tool for homework and things like that. So all of the stuff that you were doing, the markup and highlighting and putting a box around something and all the comments and everything, that's all in Canvas, right?
Yes, yes, it is. It is. And you could record that with any screencasting tool. But you can use those same tools, or something very similar to them, are available in Zoom. So if you're not grading in Canvas, you could use Zoom and do the markup and things like that as well. You've got
oh, you're right.
Yeah, if you go to view options at the top of the screen, you've got the annotation tools that you can draw on the screen with. While you're, and if you're hosting the meeting, you of course have those tools in your little share bar, and you just go to annotate, and you can do things like that. So that's something you can do with Zoom, and there are annotation tools like that you can get outside of Zoom as well, if you like. But it's so neat that Canvas just provides them, and then the Techsmith Capture gives you the option to record yourself doing that. And again, you could do that with Zoom. You could record this with Zoom. You could record it with other tools that we're about to talk about. But Capture is just so fast, so simple, and so free that it's a good option. And it's really, the limited bandwidth that you get on screencast.com is not really a factor if you're using it for this, because you probably won't ever run out of bandwidth. And if you do, you can go into screencast.com and delete some older ones if you run out of storage space, which won't happen for a long time. And the bandwidth resets every month, so you get another 2 gigs every month, so you're not likely to run out of bandwidth doing this. There is one limitation here that I was sort of anticipating somebody asking about, and that's captioning. Screencast.com doesn't have captioning tools, at least not the free version of it. So this video will not be captioned. But that's not a problem because you're sending this to a single student. If you're doing this particular activity, and you will know if that student is hearing impaired and requires captions, you'll know because they will have identified themselves as a DSPS student with hearing impairment. Obviously, you would not want to use Capture to send them feedback. You would do that for the vast majority of your students who have who are not hearing impaired. And in the case of the hearing impaired student, you could just use a different tool that allowed you to upload directly to YouTube, where it would be captioned automatically and you wouldn't have to worry about it. So Capture, though, would be perfectly fine for the vast majority of your grading interactions.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay, this is other Kathy with the C.
Hey, Kathy. I see you there. Okay. I've got the gallery view up on another monitor, so I can see you.
I can only see so many people at a time, though. I have to kind of keep sliding down, so I can only see a few.
Yeah.
But
it'll do up to 49. Zoom will do up to 49 people at a time. That's usually enough for any of these meetings.
Okay, so you were showing like the difference between using the Canvas record button. I forgot what you called it, but the little record thing that's set in Canvas is
right there. Yeah, the media comment button, they call it.
You call it the talking head. So like you can talk to the student, but you can't show them their work at the same time. Whereas with the screencasting, you can talk and show them and point to things and everything. But when you were finished, it seemed like you made a copy of a URL and wrote it in the feed box or something.
Right. I put it in the comment box down here. So that allows them to access the feedback. Okay. They'll see that in their comments in their grading tool.
Okay, really see that, because I've used it. I didn't know about how to do this. I mean, I always saw that little record thing, but I didn't know how to do it. But I've sent very detailed. I'm talking like a couple of pages of what not to do or why they can't do a certain thing. And then I sent them attachments. And then when they did their speech, it's obvious they didn't read it. So how does it show up in the grade book?
You can, yeah, you can lead them to water. Let's see, let me act as that student that just got the grading here. I can do that as an administrator. So I'm logged in as that student now into this course.
Oh, I like that little picture, that little icon.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Canvas is nothing but cute, if not cute. Though I've got a video. Talk about things never disappearing from the internet. Many years ago, probably 5-7 years ago now, Canvas put out a little video on YouTube of an outing for the company that was pretty horrific. Showed them going out into the desert and firing automatic weapons at a billboard of blackboard and things like that. Well, you know, one they put up. Oh, once it goes on the internet, it never vanishes. Okay, so this person could go to their grades tool. And let's see, I got to find that define screencasting assignment. There it is. That one's been graded. They can get their comments two ways. They can go to this little icon right here, and there's the comment. Or probably easier for them, they can just click on the name of the assignment, and that pulls up any typed feedback, and they can view the markup feedback by clicking this link. And they can see exactly what I marked up here and so on. It's not a video though, it's just the text that I typed in and the markups that I did. But here's their link to the screencast. And all I have to do is take that, copy it to the clipboard, paste it into their web browser and press enter. And there's the playback. And now I'm recording this screen. And that's playing from the internet. So that's how they can get that feedback.
So I might need to teach them how to do that if I plan on doing that. Because that's oh, I can include that. Oh, okay. A tutorial.
In our on-demand site, we have a tutorial on how students can get their grade feedback. Just search for student grades. There it is. Check your student grades in Canvas. Let me put that link in the chat tool. Okay, that's in the chat tool now if you want to copy that or save the, remember you can save the chat tool by going to the, or save the chat log, excuse me, by going to the more menu in the lower right, clicking there and just clicking save chat. It'll pull out, it'll show you a little green bar, and if you click here, it'll show you where it saved it on your computer, which is in a folder called Zoom in your default documents folder, and then it's in a subfolder that's dated and timed today.
Yes, I see it.
So
thank you.
So that you can provide that to your link to your students as a link in your Canvas course, and that'll show them how to check their grades, and it goes through the whole 9 yards of how to
including
find that
videos.
Yeah, it shows them how to see their text comments, their markup comments, and everything else. That's
okay,
provided.
thank you.
You bet. Okay, let's see, where were we? Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. This is, I mean, it's free, it's so wonderful, and this is so fast and easy. Let's say you want to create something with this that does need to be captioned, or for whatever reason you'd like to have this on YouTube, you can do that. But in order to do that, you have to go to your account at screencast.com, and this gets a little bit more tricky. Here is the playback page on screencast.com where you play this back. But you can go, if it's you can go to your details for this video. The students won't see this, but you will. And in those details, there's a little download button. You can download this, and remember, all this being recorded because Zoom is recording this, even though I'm not recording it with Capture any longer. Zoom is just about the most amazing tool there is. You're going to be able to play this back later if you want to, so don't worry about that. There's a little download button here. You can download this video to your local hard drive. Probably put it in your videos folder if you're on a PC, or you'll have something similar on the Mac. And I can give it a name like sample recording. I might even spell recording right. Sample recording, what's today? 7/10/20. Save that. And just that fast, you have that recording on your local hard drive. And it's a recording you can then upload to YouTube very quickly. I'm not going to go into great detail on that because we have another tutorial on that, or another session on that. But real quick, I can go, if I'm logged into my YouTube account, and if you have a Gmail account or a Google Docs account, you have a YouTube account as well. Just go into there, go to the little create button, upload the video, and YouTube will just walk you through the process. Select the video file you want to upload, find it on your computer. It's in videos, and I called that sample, I think. There it is, sample recording. I still didn't spell recording right. Oh well. I can correct that when I get it to YouTube. Select that file, open it. That uploads the thing to YouTube. You have to give it a name. I'm just going to go with the default name on that one, but you can change the name. Next. Nothing here. Next. I'm going to make it unlisted because it's just a sample, so I don't want to make it public where other people might stumble on it. Unlisted allows me to have anybody watch this who has the link, and they don't have to log in to do it, and so on. And save it. Hopefully by now there it is, but it takes YouTube a minute to process it. But it's on YouTube now. You can get the YouTube share link just by going to the details page. It's right there. You just copy it to your clipboard. You can put that in Canvas or whatever. And it will be captioned within a few minutes or within an hour or two. So the process of using a capture video for something other than just student feedback doesn't take very long. But there are other tools that are just about as easy to use, just not quite as quick, that will allow you to upload to YouTube automatically, and you don't have to go through this process of downloading the video from screencast.com and uploading it to YouTube. Such as, major segue here into another section of the presentation, such as Screencast-O-Matic. Here we leave the realm of the totally free and get into the realm of the really cheap. Actually, yes, please.
Before we go on, you were mentioning Capture, when you were talking about Screencast.com and Techsmith, is
Right.
Capture part of Screencast.com or Techsmith?
Well, Techsmith is the company that creates a lot of the screencasting software that's out there. And Capture is their little entry-level application.
Oh,
So
okay, thank you.
Capture is a product created by Techsmith Inc. It's their completely free one. Actually, what it is it's their crack sample. You know, the first one is always free. The first dose is always free. That's what this is designed for. It's a marketing tool, but it has considerable capability. But their idea is that they're going to get you hooked on screencasting, and suddenly Capture's not going to be enough. And you're going to want to buy, maybe you're going to want to buy some more space on Screencast.com, or you're going to want a copy of Snagit, which is basically the Capture on steroids, or you're going to want to go all the way and really, you know, really start mainlining it every day and buy a copy of Camtasia, and then they really make some money. So it's just a marketing tool, but it's a great one. Screencast.com is Techsmith's hosting site. It's their version of YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And it makes it real easy. This, as you saw, is real easy to get that capture video up on the Screencast.com. It's one click and boom, it's there. And it gives you a little box on the screen. It has the URL in it and actually automatically copies the URL to your clipboard anyway. So then you can just paste it into Canvas and it's ready to go. So it's a real efficient workflow. But they give you a certain amount of storage space and bandwidth on Screencast.com for free, but they're hoping that you'll like the convenience so much that you'll then pay them $10 a month, which I've been doing for time immemorial.
$10 a month.
$10 a month, yeah.
Okay.
But you don't have to. You can download it from download the video from Screencast.com and upload it to YouTube, or you can just put videos that are going to get more watching and that need captioning up on YouTube using a different tool to start with, which I'm about to show you.
Okay, thank you.
And that's you bet. And that's and thank you for asking that, because I'm sure you weren't the only one who had that question. And we are moving relatively rapidly here. And I need to move a little more rapidly because I'm already at 11:24 a.m. here. And Screencast-O-Matic is definitely something I want to show you. It's an almost free tool. Actually, the main limitation with Screencast-O-Matic, if you don't pay for it, is that your videos can't be more than 15 minutes long. Again, that's not so much a limitation as an enforced good practice, because ideally you wouldn't have too many screencasts out there for your students that were more than 15 minutes long. But if you're, say, doing a narrated PowerPoint, you might want it to be longer. You might have to be a little longer than that. So Screencast-O-Matic has a paid tier that is really cheap, but not free. That's why I'm doing it next. And Screencast-O-Matic is something you don't even have to install on your computer. It's a web-based service. It works through your web browser. So to use Screencast-O-Matic, all you have to do is click on the link to it here, or just type www.screencast-O-Matic, Screencast-O-Matic.com. And boom, and you're ready to go. So that doesn't take too long. It is, as I say, it is a little bit more, it has a little bit more capability than Capture, certainly. So it takes a little bit longer to set up. You can say, start recording for free. Boom. Let's say we're ready to make a recording. And let's, this time, let's illustrate a narrated PowerPoint recording. That is one of the very common uses of screencasting tools. Let me pull up my PowerPoint here. There it is. Or is that Publisher? I think that's Publisher. Yep, sorry. Wrong. I need to pull up PowerPoint. It'll come up somewhere in a minute. There we go. Now let me just pull up a sample PowerPoint presentation I use for demonstrations. It's this one. Full screen it. Yeah. Not interested in that right now. Okay, here's a really short little PowerPoint presentation, but you're not limited to the number of slides you can do on a screencast, unless you're working with that time limitation in Screencast-O-Matic, which is free, is only going to allow you 15 minutes. If you want to be able to make screencasts that are longer than 15 minutes in Screencast-O-Matic, the dog robbers are going to charge you $20 a year. So it's not a whole lot by the day. Screencast-O-Matic is cheap. And you get a lot of extra capabilities beyond just the being able to record for more than 15 minutes. But the free one is not bad. That's what we're actually, I think I'm not logged into my Screencast-O-Matic account. So we're going to see the absolute free version here. So I'll start recording for free. It works on Chromebooks, Macs, and Windows. So this will even work on a Chromebook. I don't think there's a version of Techsmith Capture available for Chromebooks at this point. But this brings up the point with these free screencasting tools, you're not the only one who can use them. Your students can use them too. You can require your students to get Techsmith Capture and make screencasts to turn into you to demonstrate their work. Say you're teaching, I'll just go back to that example of teaching Excel again. You can have them submit their homework as a screencast. Okay, make a spreadsheet that will do this. Then on using Capture, which has, by the way, at the present time at least, no time limit on its screencasts. Using Capture or Screencast-O-Matic or whatever you prefer, or Zoom, record yourself creating this spreadsheet and show me how it works. Show me your work. That's something you used to be able, so you don't have to worry about them submitting somebody else's work in that event. You see them do it on screen. It's and as you see that with a tool like Capture, it's so simple and so quick and so free that any student can do it. So I'm just load the free recorder then. It's basically the same thing, the same recorder as you get in the paid version. And it'll ask me, is it okay to open that? Sure. I'll just say open that. And it'll take a second. So this takes a little bit of time to get it started. And it's decided it has to update the recorder, which it does periodically. So, you know, by this time I'd mostly be through with my recording on Capture. And if I'm doing 40 of these, you know, giving feedback in Canvas, every bit of time that this takes is multiplied by 40 times. All right, but here it is. It comes up pretty quickly. We're talking here about screencasting, but in the both Screencast-O-Matic and Capture have the ability to record your webcam as well. If you just want to make a talking head video or a video of anything else your webcam can see, you can go to just the webcam recording as well. And that's available for free apparently now. It didn't used to be, I'll be darned. I probably have to select the right webcam. Because that's not using the one. Oh, I tell you why that's using that one, because my other webcam's in use by Zoom, and two applications can't share same webcam. So there I am. So I can record in Screencast-O-Matic, I can record my webcam as well as my screen, or I can even record both with myself down here in the lower right-hand corner, or I can move that around as well. And I can record the screen at the same time. So that's kind of a neat trick. You can't do that with Capture. You can't record both at the same time. And fine, so I'm just going to do a screencast. I've never been that big a fan of recording your webcam and your screencast at the same time, because I feel like I'm just distracting down there in the corner. And it ain't like I'm Brad Pitt or anything like that. So I'm not really, them seeing me down there is not really adding any instructionally valuable content to this screencast, but that's a personal preference. It does make it a little more engaging because they can see who you are. So that's a personal decision. Oh darn, okay. Somehow it knows that I have a paid account because it's not enforcing any time limits. So if this were, you know, if you had not paid the 20 bucks this year, there would be a 15-minute time limit here, and you would not be able to record either your webcam or both. So those are added features, but to tell you the truth, they're not that important. Capture will allow you to record your webcam just by itself, so you don't need this for that, and Capture is perfectly free. You can record your full screen size, or you can select a portion of the screen to record. I just always record my full screen, and I have done many thousands of screencasts over the years. So that's just my preference. I don't have to worry about what I'm recording in that event. You can all, with a paid account, you can also record computer sounds, or you can turn that off, which I will do because I don't need to do that here. That's another paid only function. So you won't have that option if you're using completely free Screencast-O-Matic.
Dave?
But usually that's all set and you don't have to change it. Yes.
If you decided that you wanted to show yourself along with your slide some of the time, right, but not all of the time, can you switch back and forth?
I don't believe you can switch back and forth on the fly. You can edit that later, and there is an editor built into here that I talk about in our intermediate screencasting class. But generally, no, I don't believe you can turn that on and off. Let's try it. You didn't used to be able to, but they make improvements all the time. Let me go ahead and record both, and we'll see. Okay. So I can see that it can hear me. It's hearing my microphone. If it's not, I can change microphone. I may just have the wrong thing selected here by default. In this case, it seems to be working fine. And it's hearing me. So at this point, all I have to do is hit, if I want to do a recording, all I have to do is hit record. And I still have control of my screen here, so I can minimize this and bring PowerPoint back up. There it is. Okay, so I have my PowerPoint slides on the screen. I can go into slideshow mode in PowerPoint and record from there, but I like to record my PowerPoint in just in edit mode. so that I can navigate back and forth very easily and so on. But that's, again, a personal preference. So to start recording, all I have to do is hit the record button. Counts me down. And now I'm recording 5 tips for listening well by authored by Mortimer Snerd. Then I can go to the next slide. When in a situation that you need to listen, be prepared. Be mentally and physically ready to listen. That is, be comfortable. Get yourself in a comfortable chair, in a comfortable position. Be focused. Be ready to listen. It's a good idea if you read a little bit about the topic that you're going to be listening about beforehand, not to become an expert on it, but just to become familiar with some of the terminology and a little that you're going to hear, and just have some idea of what the topic's about. And that'll help you avoid being lost after the first 5 minutes and then trying to scramble and catch up, which is usually not very effective. I probably could have said this more gently, but be quiet, shut up. You listen a lot better when you're not running your mouth. Doesn't mean you don't want to speak up at all, but you want to remain silent most of the time, because when you do so, remaining silent can put an exclamation point on the things you do say. People are more likely to listen to you. And I have no idea what a good aura is, so I'm just going to skip over that. Okay, you get the idea. I don't have to do this whole power. You can just keep going, recording your PowerPoint, and let's see. I see that I do have what look like some little controls down here. So let's see what happens if I turn this, if I hit this one that's blank. Nothing. I was hoping there might be some way to turn that off. If you have multiple screens, can you drag? Oh, look at that. Okay, if you have multiple monitors on your computer, I never tried that, you can drag this off screen, and now it's not being recorded anymore. And when you're ready for your students to see you again, you can drag it back. And having multiple monitors on a system that you're going to use for Zoom or for screencasting or for a lot of other things is really handy. And almost any laptop can be connected to an external monitor. And most desktop computers can be connected as well. And Windows and Mac OS both have drivers in them to allow you to use multiple monitors. I've got 3 on this computer, and they're extremely handy. So investing $100 or so in an external monitor, so you have multiple screens, is really handy. And this is another example of why that might be. Anyway, we're still recording our screencast, but we've got down here in the lower left-hand corner a little pause button. That's the 2 vertical slashes indicate pause, universal symbol. So I can pause this, and now Screencast-O-Matic is not recording anymore. I can, at this point, just start right up again. And it counts me down. And now we're recording again. So I can pause this recording at any time if I just need time to think, or if I want to go pull up another application and bring it in and record that. I can pause at any time, and I can do that as often as I like. When I'm done, well, this interface is pretty good. You just click the button marked done. Or if the recording is foobar, everybody knows foobar, right? Fouled up beyond all recognition.
Oh.
You can just trash it and start over again. But I don't do that very often. no screencast you ever do will be perfect. I guarantee it, no matter how hard you try. And you can waste an awful lot of time saying, oh, I don't want them to think I'm imperfect, so I'm going to do it again and get it absolutely right. Well, just think about that. You can't do that in a live lecture, right? It'd be nice sometimes, but you can't. So don't worry about it. In screencasting, as in many things, perfect is the enemy of good. If you spend so much time trying to make it perfect, you're liable to end up with something that's not only not perfect, but not any good either. So just get over yourself and keep going. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to stumble. And it's not going to affect the instructional value of the screencast. And the time that you take doing it over and over and over again could be used to make that many more screencasts that will benefit your students even more. Okay, I'll get down off the soapbox on that one. If I'm done, I just click done. Ask me, what do I want to do now? Well, if you've got the paid version, you can actually edit the video a little bit. It's not much of an editor, but it is something. But again, that's an intermediate screencasting technique. I'll leave that for now. What I'm probably going to want to do is save this and upload it to somewhere. There is a quick share, like bang, bang, which is a little bit more like what you have with Capture, but you have to have it set up in advance. It's going to upload it to a Screencast-O-Matic hosting service, which, and you get a link right away. But I'm probably going to want to put this on YouTube. That's one of the justifications for using Screencast-O-Matic, and it's almost as simple to do that. So I'll just click Save and Upload. I get a preview of it, of the recording, that I can play a little bit, make sure it records.
And now I'm recording 5 tips for listening well.
Work fine. And I can scrub through this, and look, this is a recorded PowerPoint presentation. That's all there was to it.
Does it say closed captioning on it already?
If you have multiple screens,
oh, that was live. Sorry. No closed captioning yet. You can add captions. Again, if you have a paid account, you can add captions to this recording right here. But that means typing them. You don't want to do that.
Okay. So it's automatically says CC, but it doesn't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't do it. It's not like YouTube, which will caption it automatically. So I'm just going to upload this to YouTube. And I got that option right away. As soon as I check it to make sure it recorded okay, I can just click Upload to YouTube. If Screencast-O-Matic senses that you're already logged into your YouTube account, and it can tell, it's just ready to go, and you just hit Publish. If you're not logged in, it'll prompt you to do so. And if you don't have a YouTube account, of course, you can create one. That's another seminar. But it's simple, and it's free, and anybody can and should probably have a YouTube account who's teaching. You can give it a name, or you can do that later on YouTube. Sample Screencast-O-Matic. Uh, 7/10/2020. And really all you have to do is just hit publish. You see it upload to YouTube. You see the progress of it uploading to YouTube. There it goes. Now it's running. It's a lot quicker uploading something of similar length to screencast.com and Capture. So this is another issue. If you're just doing 1 or 2 screencasts a day, it doesn't matter. If you're doing 40 of them, this does slow you down a little bit. But we're getting it up on YouTube where it's going to be automatically captioned. I'll show you that in a minute. Let me just talk about something else while this is going. I want to be sure to mention today. There's another screencasting and video recording, motion video recording tool coming to us very soon through Canvas. We are about to get access, hopefully within the next month or so, to something called Canvas Studio, which I would be demonstrating today if we had access to it yet, but soon. And that may supersede a lot of this. Canvas Studio is a video management system that's integrated tightly with Canvas, as you might expect from the name, that it makes it really easy for you to provide access to the videos to your students through Canvas. It allows you to collect, gives you a place to go and look at all your videos that you've done in one place. It allows you to share them with other faculty and things like that if you like. It's a repository of the video that you've created and the video that other people have shared. And you can use it, you'll be able to use it to create videos. And the creation tool for videos in Canvas Studio is a licensed version of the Screencast-O-Matic recorder that I just demonstrated to you. So it will be, if you're using Screencast-O-Matic, it will be very familiar to you, but you'll have this big infrastructure behind the Screencast-O-Matic, and it's got captioning tools built in and so on as well. So it's going to be a wonderful addition to our screencasting infrastructure at the district. We just don't quite have it yet. But everything I just showed you about the Screencast-O-Matic recorder will be basically the same in Canvas Studio. Once it's finished uploading, you can just copy the link to your clipboard and say done. And now, and here is an advertisement from Screencast-O-Matic saying, oh, don't you want to pay about 20 bucks for the year and get all these wonderful things? But if I just paste that link that I just got into the web browser and press enter, bada bing, there's that video. It's still processing in YouTube, so I can't show it to you yet, but it'll be there in a minute, and within an hour or so it'll be captioned and ready to go. So that allows you to very quickly, say, paste that link into a feedback box in Canvas, or put a link to that video in a module in Canvas, or embed the video in a Canvas page. All those things that we learn how to do in our Adding Video to Canvas seminar that we have recordings of on our in our workshop archives, and then I will be giving a live session of again at some point, I think in July or August. So I'm not going to go through that right now. But so Screencast-O-Matic is just a little bit more complex than Techsmith Capture, but has additional capability. And it's just a little bit slower to use. But that's not really a factor if you're creating like a narrated PowerPoint presentation that you're going to use over and over again for multiple people. You know, the additional time it takes to get Screencast-O-Matic started and running is trivial. It's only when you're doing a bunch of screencasts one after another that the efficiency in the workflow of Techsmith Capture really becomes a compelling advantage. And I'll mention, along with Capture, I'll also mention Snagit, because Snagit is Capture's big brother. It's the paid version of Techsmith Capture, if you will. It is available from Techsmith, from the Techsmith website. It is, let's just go there. And for, let's see, we'll go to the store. For educators, if I go to Snagit, and pricing, where is it? Whoop. Learn more, here we go. If I go to pricing, where is it? Come on. Pricing, there it is. There's an education store. And all your verification that you're an educator is an EDU email account. So you just give them your EDU email account. You can get Canvas or a Snagit for $30, and that's a one-time cost. Where Screencast-O-Matic is $20 a year for the full software, Snagit is one-time cost. Though they'll hope that you upgrade it at some point, and they'll charge you about half of that, about 15 bucks, to upgrade it if there's a major upgrade. But those only come out about once a year, and you can go several years without upgrading. And usually the new features are not compelling. So it's basically $30 one time. And Snagit, I'm not going to show you the whole dialogue with Snagit because it's almost identical to Capture. Snagit runs in a little, there's a little blue bar right at the top of your screen if you have Snagit running all the time, and it, like Capture, runs in the background all the time. So it's right there available. And there's a big record button. You click the record button, and just like with Capture, you select what you want to record. You get a little control bar that looks almost identical to the one in Capture. You tell it you want to screencast. It keeps putting that off screen, so I won't record it. You can check and see. You see, this looks almost identical to Capture. And but once you create a screencast with Snagit, which I'm not going to do right now, it's the same process as Capture. Once you do, you get it brings up a preview of the screencast that looks like this. You can play it for your videos on YouTube. And then there's a share button that will allow you to send this directly to YouTube, which is Snagit's primary advantage to me over Capture, is you can save directly to YouTube and not have to go through an intermediate download upload process. For that, you pay $30 one time. And there are other capabilities that you don't get with Capture, but that's the major difference to me between the two. And I don't mind just uploading to YouTube manually to save myself actually I have Snagit anyway. But Capture, I find Capture a little bit quicker and easier to use. So if I'm doing and I do a lot of this, if I'm doing a quick one-off screencast for a faculty member who's asked a question, I'll usually use Capture. Because again, I know it's only going to be played once, so I don't have to worry about the bandwidth. And I'm done with it so fast that I can move on to the next email. That I do love Capture. Used to use Snagit for that. And but Capture is just that little bit faster than Snagit. I love it. We talked about Canvas Studio, and just in the couple of minutes we have left, I will mention your possible future. If you download, the first one is free with Techsmith Capture or Screencast-O-Matic, and you get started, I will warn you that screencasting can become habit forming. It can you can end up spending too much time making screencasts for your students, for your family members, or just anybody who you might interact with. It can eat up a piece of your life, so you've been warned. And you may even end up buying something like Camtasia, which is the mother of all screencasting tools. It's the first one, almost the first one that ever existed. Not quite, but almost. And it's the only one that I know of from that era. That it was first put out in the late 90s. And it's the only one of that vintage that I know that's still around. And it is just an amazing tool. Though it does allow you to record screencasts, but quite frankly, any of these other tools record screencasts just as well. Camtasia's great virtue is its editor. I guess I've got just a second to show you that. Let's see. Oh, shoot, that's right, that link. I broke that link, sorry. My bad, not Camtasia's. I've actually got Camtasia 2020 somewhere, but it doesn't look very different. Camtasia has a fantastic video editor built into it. You can use it to edit any type of video, not just screencasts that you create in Camtasia. You can drop any sort of video you like into the Camtasia editor, and it is the best mid-range, semi-professional video editor I know. And it's not only easy to use, but it's easy to learn. And that, relatively easy. Nonlinear video editing, so-called computer-based video editing, is there's a little bit of a learning curve. But doing simple things with the editor in Camtasia is relatively simple, much more simple than something like, even than the Mac iMovie. I think it's easier than iMovie, which is also very inexpensive or free. But it's incredibly powerful, with a learning curve that is practical for someone who's not a video professional. God knows I'm not. It comes up, I just say I want a new project here. No, I don't want to update right now. I can, if I've got a recorder built into it, and if I record a screencast, it'll automatically drop it in here. But I can also import media. And I can go and find, let's see, where's that sample one I just did? There it is. I can import that into here. And I can drag it down and drop it onto my editor timeline down here. Editors work with timelines. Time moves forward from left to right as you play through. And now I'm recording this screen. So now what can I do here? Well, let's say, surely somewhere I said, Great. 80% of viewers can recall a video if they've seen it in the last 30 days. This number is not nearly so high. Well, shoot. I can't believe I didn't. I could go 10 seconds without saying, you do, in creating videos like this, you learn things about how you communicate that are not necessarily comforting. In the long run, it may make you a better communicator, but it won't be a pleasant process all of the time. I'll warn you there. And it's especially difficult for me to have to watch myself when I'm recording video of myself over and over and over again as I'm editing or captioning or something like that. So that's something you just got to get over. That looks like an So that's a that's a so. Oh, well. You can edit the audio, you can edit the video. I could bring another video in here this is a question I often get. How do I put two videos together? Well, I can just input another video. I don't think this video has anything to do with this one, but I have a new video there. I can just drag this video out here and bring this one in. Whoop, where'd it go? What did I do with it? I dropped it. Well, it's all right. It didn't shatter. There it is. Now I've got two videos side by side on the timeline.
Into the editor in Camtasia and play with it.
And now I'm recording this. So you can stick two videos together. You can trim your videos if there's a little bit of time at the beginning of the video you don't want to use. You can just cut it out very efficiently. You can add bukus of special effects, which I don't have time. We have a session where I show the Camtasia editor, but you can just do tons of stuff, and it's really quite simple. And just those two things, sticking two videos together and trimming the ends, are easier in Camtasia than any other editor I know. And you can also cut bits of video out. Let's say you said something that you really don't want to share with your students indefinitely. You can cut a piece out. And boop, just that fast, it's gone. And so that doesn't show up in your final one. Yes, Ardith?
It doesn't show you where you're at when you're cutting it out, though.
Yes, yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. It's just that there wasn't much changing up here visually,
okay.
But yeah, you can see, if you look as I scrub back and forth, you can see that cursor moving around.
Yeah.
So yes, it does show you where you are. And as you
frozen screen or something.
Yeah, as you move forward, you can see what you're selecting, and where if I want to end it right there, then I can just cut that out. So it's real simple and quick to cut a piece out. And you can insert videos in between. If I decide I want what's called B-roll, some other video in here, I can go find it. This is a short one. I can go find it. I can very quickly import it into Camtasia, and I can drag that in and insert that and just drag stuff back. Now this is one seamless video.
Into the editor in Camtasia and play with it.
My stupid dog and my robot. And now I'm recording. They don't exactly go together, but you get the idea. It's very simple to put together quite sophisticated video productions with Camtasia. The learning curve, probably to learn to do that 2 or 3 hours and really get comfortable with it. And you're great. And Camtasia is a one-time cost, though they do upgrade it about once a year, and they'll try to sell you an upgrade, which is about half the price. But you don't have to. This is your before last's version, and it still works just fine. And I've got versions 2 or 3 years older that still work fine. And so basically a one-time cost. And you can just do a lot of stuff that this is, like I say, this is if you really get sucked in. This could be in your future someday, so budget for it.
Dave, I think I have that 1991 Camtasia, but it's on a different laptop. How do I get it transferred that account? Do I have to go find the original?
Oh boy, did you get an original disk to install it from, or? A 1991 might be a little far back. I'm not sure that will even run on Windows 10. So,
in fact, I think I was in your class too.
yeah, I'd try it if you can find but I don't think you can download that version of it anymore.
Okay.
So probably if you can find the install disk, you can try installing it on Windows 10 and see if it'll work. I have actually run on Windows 10, I have run version 2 of Camtasia that came out in like 2001. I don't think yours is a 1991 version. It
Well,
came
no,
out in
it's probably-
1999 the first time. So you've probably got a 4 or 5 year old version, and that one might well run on, because I've run for a demonstration, I've run the second version of Camtasia that came out.
Okay, maybe it's 1999 or 2001.
20th century or something like that. I have run that on Windows 10.
Yeah.
So you can try it and see.
Okay, but on my new laptop, it doesn't have a place for placing a CD or DVD in it. So does that mean
that means you would have to, well, you could copy the install files from the CD or the DVD onto a thumb drive and run it from the thumb drive and try it. Be interesting to try. And it's something you've already paid for. Chances are it'll work because they maintain pretty good backward capability or backward compatibility.
Yeah, it was like $180 or something, but
yeah, about that.
The update for $89, but hey, why when I already paid for it? But it's just on a different computer, and it's a slower computer, and it's Windows 7 original.
Well, if you can find the install software on the disk, you can probably copy it to the thumb drive and reinstall. If you can't, I don't think you can I don't know if you can download earlier versions or not. You used to be able to, but they've gotten a little less accommodating about that in recent years. So.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be happy to work with you individually on that and see if we can get it to work.
Okay.
All right. Now, I have seen some good questions showing up here that, of course, we've had some great questions asked, but there were some in the chat tool. So let me go back and check some of those, and then I'll open the floor up for questions about this, and then general questions after that. I am receiving my Zoom recording right after I leave the meeting in an email. Correct. If you're recording to the Zoom cloud, you do. And another email arrives soon with captions. Soon may be a relative term, but yeah, sooner or later, Zoom will have finished, the Zoom cloud will have finished the captioning, and you get another email. Is this the only copy in my email? No. You can always get to your Zoom recordings by opening up a web browser and typing in on the address line zoom.us, which is the Zoom website. And you'll have to log in to the website using the credentials that you were given for your Confer Zoom account. Just click sign in. And there's my credentials. And you're now in the account management screens at Zoom for your account. So you just go to the recordings link on the left here, and all of your Zoom recordings will be listed here. I don't use it very often, so I've only the Zoom cloud very often. I use YouTube for the most part, but your recordings will be here. You can view any of them just by clicking on the link to the recording and then clicking on the little icon there, playback icon, and here's your Zoom. This is actually a recording of a recording.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to learn
for a faculty member who was having trouble getting something captioned on YouTube for some reason. You can download this recording if you like. If you want a copy of it locally, you can download it to your local hard drive. So I hope that answered that question. Let me know if it didn't. The Zoom caption along with the recording. You betcha. You get captions that are about as good as the ones you get in YouTube. It's actually a very good, there's a very good captioning engine in the Zoom cloud. And you get the captions and you get a transcript. YouTube will also provide you with a transcript if you like. So it's got basically captioning capability equivalent to that of YouTube. With Zoom, if you mess up the recording, do you need to start over? No, 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 not unless it just goes completely off the rails. Just say, oops, sorry, here's what I meant, and keep going. Don't be stopping and starting a gazillion times. It's just, you're just going to waste time, and your students aren't going to think you're perfect anyway. So it's a wasted effort. Good question. Yes, I upload my videos to YouTube. YouTube does a great job of adding captions. It sure does. And you can edit them as well. Yes, you can. And you can edit the captions on Zoom too, in the Zoom cloud, by just going to the mousing over a caption, clicking the little pencil icon, and you get an editable caption. So you can edit this as easily as you can your YouTube captions. They're both wonderful tools. The main difference for most people is that YouTube is completely free, where Zoom is $15 a month. You can thank Governor Newsom and the people underneath him for that $15 a month that you're not having to pay for your Zoom account, because the state is buying it for you. So for you, the Zoom cloud is great. Just remember, sooner or later, you will run out of space on the Zoom cloud, and then you'll need my tutorial on how to move it to YouTube so that so you can delete it from here and record new stuff. You can record with 2 different systems on one camera. I'm not sure, Ardith, what were you getting at there?
When you were showing us how to do the editor, and you were going to record, and I was wondering if you could do that on the same camera since you're doing this.
No, if I'm going to record my webcam, it can't be shared between different software. Funny, microphones can be shared.
Oh.
So, and I've done that today several times. The microphone has been used by Zoom, but I've also used it in Capture and in Screencast-O-Matic at the same time. So microphones can be shared by different applications, but webcams can't. It's one at a time.
Okay.
So if you want to record on multiple pieces of software at the same time, and let me say, if you get to that point, you're hopeless. I mean, your life is over. You know, you're a screencasting junkie, and your life is forever changed. But if you get to that point, you have to have multiple webcams attached to the computer at the same time. I have 3 attached to this one right now.
All right. You said something about a Fire something that has a good camera on it.
I'm sorry, no?
A Fire tablet or something that has a
good camera. You can use your Fire tablet, indeed.
All right. Thanks.
Must we close Techsmith Capture when we shut down or log out of our computer? No, it'll shut itself down. And you can leave it running on the hold. And if you set it up to do so, it will restart when you reboot your computer. Or you can do it manually. Where do you find the Techsmith recording when you want it? The Techsmith recording, Screencast.com is a website. You just go to Screencast.com. If you're all Screencast.com, okay, just we probably don't want to go there. Screencast.com, Screencast.com. I don't even want to think about that. Screencast.com. If you're already logged in, this is what you see. You see all your recordings. If you aren't logged in, it'll prompt you to log in. And here's all the stuff that I've recorded. And I've just had this for a few weeks since it came out. I use it a fair bit already. And you can find your videos here. And you just click on one of the videos to view it. I have no idea what this is. And just play it. Hi, Charlene. This is Dave Gibbs. That was an individual screencast for a faculty member. And under details up here, I can download it if I like. If I need to have it captioned. This was a video sent, a feedback video sent to an individual faculty member who I know is not hearing impaired, so I didn't have to caption. So that's how you find your video if you want to go looking for it. How do you caption it? You don't. Well, you download it, and upload it to YouTube, and let YouTube caption it. When you say 2 gigabytes a month are free, are they same as 2 Gs? Yes. For example, could I store 2 Gs per semester? Each semester would have different students. The storage is cumulative. You get 2 gigabytes of storage, period. That doesn't reset. If you have 2 gigabytes data for one class, then you got to make another free screencast account with another email if you want another one later, which you can do. You can just make another Gmail account or another Yahoo account and sign up for another screencast account and get another 2 gigabytes of storage. Or you can pay the $10 a month and get more storage than you'd ever need. But that doesn't reset. What resets every month is the bandwidth. And by bandwidth, I mean the amount of traffic that is generated when somebody plays a video. If the video is 10 megabytes in size, if a student plays that video once, you've used 10 megabytes of bandwidth. You get 2,000 megabytes of bandwidth a month. And that does reset at the end of a month from when you first created your account, and a month after that, and a month after that, you get another 2 gigabytes of bandwidth moving forward. You can try the free account and see if you run out. And if you do, you can always download the videos and put them on YouTube. That'll never run out. And I answered that one. I believe that students are learning more from videos. I believe that too. You can't put everything into a video, obviously. Doesn't mean you're not going to have a lot of text in your course, but the more video you have, likely the better your students are doing. And students do love video. When we do surveys and ask students, well, what do you wish your online course would have more of or would do? It's video. More video is always near the top of the list. Cool. Is the introduction to screencasting course in your demos currently available for us to take online asynchronously? Is that something you would like to do? Let me ask the group. Is that something that would be worthwhile?
Yes.
If you could do that? I'm seeing a lot of nodding heads.
Yes, yes.
I was thinking about that just before the class today when I was looking at that demo course, and I was thinking, you know, maybe I need to update. The way it is right now, it's not usable because it's old stuff. It's using tools that aren't available anymore, and I need to do some updating, but it wouldn't be that difficult. So if y'all think that's worthwhile, I will put that on my list of things to do. And then you could take the course virtually, or self-paced, and of course ask questions at need. and then you could get flex credit for it. We used to have a flex number for them. So let me put that on my list. Thanks for the question. Who was that? Georgia. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Georgia.
Everybody appreciates that. Okay, good.
Good.
Thank you so much.
I was hoping that
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
Here's what I plan to use Screencast-O-Matic this weekend, and I wrote a script to make sure it was less than 15 minutes. There you go. Writing a script, is at least having an outline is a really good idea, and that's something I don't talk about enough. Thanks very much, Kat, for mentioning that. You really need to have at least a good outline. Yes, Kat, or yes, whoever that is.
Hi, sorry, Dave. Would we be able to have your email address in case we have
Oh,
questions?
absolutely. You're always welcome to ask me questions about anything later on. I'm going to put that in the chat tool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for reminding me. I always try to do that. It's dgibber.so, no N. I'm not worth more than 8 characters, at sdccd.edu. And it's in the chat tool. So yes, I love to hear from you. Writing a script is an exceptionally good idea. Even if you don't stick to it perfectly, you know what you want to say and you don't forget things. At minimum, an outline that is, you know, printed out and stuck somewhere where you can see it so you don't forget things you want to say. Kathy was at, I think I also stopped using Camtasia because the district stopped paying for storage and captioning. Yeah. Actually, what you're referring to was a product we used to have called Camtasia Relay.
That's it.
Okay. It wasn't Camtasia like I was showing you here. It was a product that was something like Canvas Studio that we're about to get again.
Right.
Indeed, there's an updated version of it. What happened, it used to be a tool that we could host on our own servers.
Yeah.
And it was relatively, for that sort of thing, relatively inexpensive.
And it captioned for you.
Well, it did if you uploaded to YouTube.
No,
it didn't. It didn't actually. No, trust me on that. Camtasia Relay didn't actually caption for you.
Oh, was it my Camtasia that did?
The Camtasia itself, it does have an automatic captioning tool built in that uses Windows speech recognition, and that will do a very good job of captioning your video for you. But that was a lot more useful in the days before YouTube automatic captioning. YouTube's automatic captioning is every bit as good, and you don't have to jump through the hoops of training the software to recognize your voice.
So I must have, I bought Camtasia Studio, but I think I used Camtasia Relay. So that means that I automatically caption engine left it. I thought it was Relay that was doing it, but you're saying it's the Camtasia that did it.
It was the Camtasia that was doing it, or YouTube. But Camtasia Relay itself had no captioning capability. Well, I take that back. What am I thinking? Yes, it did. Yeah. I'll take that back. I've forgotten. Yes, it did have automatic captioning capability built in, but it was pretty crude, and it wasn't nearly as good as the YouTube automatic captioning is now. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, I forgot that. But
because I didn't use YouTube.
In any case, we don't have that tool anymore because they put it online, and they no longer allow you to host it on your own servers. And the price went up exponentially when they did that, and we were never able to afford it. In the process of trying to get a video recording and repository tool, we were looking at both the new version of Techsmith, they call it Techsmith Relay now, and Canvas Studio. Okay. And we were trying to decide between the two. And then the Online Education Initiative, the State Chancellor's Office, came along and said, we're going to pay for Canvas Studio. So he said, okay, that's going to be our tool. I personally would probably have preferred Techsmith Relay. I think it's a better tool. But Canvas Studio ain't bad by any stretch of the imagination, and you can't beat free to us. So that's what we're getting is Camtasia or Canvas Studio.
Okay.
And we can't wait. I'm so excited about being able to show that. Then hopefully at the next time I do this session, it'll be on Canvas Studio. Great. That's all. Yes.
Stuff, right? I can still find the old Camtasia if I just like not Google, but in the on demand, put in Camtasia for the examples on how to do everything.
Still going.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, we've removed all the tutorials for Camtasia Relay because we're not supporting that anymore.
Okay.
But Camtasia, there are some Camtasia tutorials.
I mean Camtasia.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It used to be called Camtasia Studio. Now they just call it Camtasia. Actually, when it first came out, it was called Camtasia, and then they called it Camtasia Studio, and now they call it Camtasia again. And I do have a few tutorials on there about that, but not nearly as many as I do about these other things, which are much more commonly used. But I do a Zoom session on Camtasia itself, which I will be doing sometime in the next 2 or 3 months. Just keep an eye out for that schedule as it comes out each week.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. All right, how about some more questions on anything? Ardith.
Okay. I don't know if you addressed it, but if I get one of those Fire tablets, is it compatible to my Mac?
That's a good question. What are you planning on using it?
I was going to use it, the camera part.
As the camera, as a webcam.
Yeah.
You know, now that I think about it, I'm not sure you really can use that like as a webcam,
right,
on your Mac or on a PC. I'm not sure the apps are there for it. That the Amazon Fire tablet is
right.
Kindle Fire tablet
right.
is a very limited. It uses a stripped down version of Android for its operating system. It's like an Android tablet, but it doesn't have all the capabilities that a standard Android tablet has. Of course, it's also dirt cheap by comparison.
Right. I mean, they do have a better one, but I don't know if it's just because it's a larger tablet.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd be able to. I can't guarantee you, and I'm skeptical that you'll be able to use that as a webcam. Do you have a smartphone though?
Yeah, I do, but I have to do it as it's not an iPhone.
That's all right. An Android phone will work. You can use the camera in your Android phone as a webcam, and it works. And it's just as good or better than the camera in the Kindle Fire. Well,
I have the webcam. It's just I don't know. I haven't been able to get it to do anything. And when I went to that website and looked for the information, it wasn't very much. And I don't know if it's because I have an old MacBook Pro.
I doubt it.
I mean,
when you say you have the webcam, do you have a document camera, a USB document camera?
I've got that document camera you recommended, but
no, we can get that to work on your Mac. Not to worry. You and I need to get together on Zoom and work through that. That will work. You do have to download and install a piece of software, which you shouldn't have to. But
I did go to the website and I did get something, but it doesn't have all the things that you showed that I should have, I think.
Let's get together on Zoom and let you share your screen and work through that, because it should work, and that should work like a charm. That's the best solution. Much better than trying to use a tablet or a smartphone.
So I need to make an appointment or something?
Yeah, send me an email and we'll find a convenient time to get together on Zoom.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
All right.
All right. Oh, we've got, just saying, we got a new one in the chat tool here. Some of the OFCP videos and screen had closed captions. Were those automatically created or uploaded? They were created in YouTube, and they may have been edited. Probably were edited because those videos get a lot of exposure, so they probably edited those. But they were just uploaded to YouTube. YouTube created the captions automatically, and then they were edited. And we, of course, have a, you'll learn how to do that in the online faculty training course. I also showed screencasting in edit mode. Was that so that you can see the control bar?
That was me.
Full screen of, yes, that is correct. If you want a full screen of PowerPoint, can you quickly show that? I remember it being quick and hard. Yeah, if you want to record your PowerPoint presentations full screen, am I still sharing? Yeah, I sure am. Let's bring PowerPoint back up here. I can just go into, I'm recording on Zoom right now. I could just as easily be recording on one of those other tools, but I'm recording on Zoom. I can just bring up PowerPoint and go to slideshow and slideshow either from beginning or from the current slide, and that'll go full screen. Now, unfortunately, it goes to my other monitor here, so I need, can I control that? Display settings, swap. There. Okay. Now it's full screen, and I can navigate through it in the usual way. I can use the down arrow key, and this PowerPoint presentation has flying bullets, so you know, I can bring them up just as I would live. I can use the mouse button or the down arrow key to advance, and I'm recording all this.
With the screencasting?
Yeah, I'm recording it in Zoom.
Oh, I know how to do it in Zoom, but when you were showing us how to do it in screencasting, you had it in the edit mode. But from what I remember from when I did do screencasting with PowerPoint, it seemed like there's like a 5-second between. Yeah, when you saw the bar there,
I can record it in Capture or any of the other tools as well. I can just record full screen. I can, remember this is over here, I can set up my, start my capture recording, my Techsmith Capture recording, have it count me down. I can get that off screen, I think, yeah. Now I can just go to slideshow.
Because it's like 5 seconds.
No, I could have had this set up to start with.
7.
And now I can just move forward. And I'm recording using, so I could have had this all ready to go. I could have done this before I started my capture.
So you would probably do the record the capture first, then set it up for full screen rather than full screen and then, because I don't know how you get to the point of the capture.
No. I'd start my slideshow.
Okay.
From the beginning. I need to swap this. Now, I need to, actually, I need to have I need to have this available somewhere. That's the main problem with this. I have to be able to start with, but there is a Shift F11 is a keyboard shortcut for capture. So I can start my PowerPoint. Use that. I can flip the presenter view onto my recorded screen, and now I can do Shift F11. I can say I want to do a full screen recording, and I can start my recording, pull that off screen, I didn't have to pull that on screen. I just wanted to show you that. Now I'm recording using Capture in full screen, and there's no delay. It just starts that way. And now I can.
There's a delay, or you can see all the steps.
No, you don't have to do it. It's not necessary. Now this is just recording. And then when I'm done, I can close, I can stop my recording here.
And that's more for the younger people.
Yeah, I had to pull that on screen. I just wanted to show you that. Now I'm recording using Capture in full screen, so people don't have to see you setting up and so on like that.
All right.
The key is that keyboard shortcut.
The F11.
Shift F11. And it always reminds you of that right there.
Right. Thank you.
I needed to demonstrate that anyway. Thank you.
Would it be the same on a Mac?
Yes.
All right.
I believe it. Yes.
F11.
Right. Actually, I'm not absolutely sure about that because you don't have F keys. No, there's a different keyboard sequence on the Mac, but it'll show it to you. The process is the same. The exact keystroke sequence is a little different.
And F11 means shuffle.
No. In this case, the Shift key plus F11 is a different command.
Okay.
And that is, and that's a sequence that's not used by a lot of software, but so that's why they picked it to use with Capture, because it's not likely to cause something else to happen as well. And so that's a way to avoid that little bit of setup at the beginning of the screencast of your PowerPoint, if that's important to you. I mean,
yes.
That's not going to impair the instructional efficiency of the PowerPoint presentation. And I reference you back to perfect is the enemy of good. So I wouldn't spend a lot of effort on it.
Oh, I had to spend time editing it out, so I know.
You can edit it out later if you have an editor.
That's what I had to do. But like I said, it's been a while, but I remember that I always had that problem, and I had like 5 seconds, and I didn't know about the Shift F11. That kind of slowed it down. So
that's new. So, that's new in Capture. Though there were keyboard shortcuts in a lot of the other older tools as well.
Okay.
Patty, once I put it on my hard drive, how do my students get it? Is Patty still here? Well, the answer, of course, is if you make a screencast, you have to upload it to YouTube or Screencast.com or some other online site before your students can get at it. And then you have to provide access to your students by providing them a link to the online screencast, probably in Canvas, by just putting an external URL link in a module in Canvas, or embedding the video into a Canvas page or whatever. All those techniques that we learn in that adding video to your Canvas course session. Let me see if there's anything. Is there any keyboard shortcut for Screencast-O-Matic? That's a good question. I don't think so, because you have to load the recorder and so on. Let me see. Let's check, though. We'll ask Dr. Google. That's how I find things out. Keyboard shortcut Screencast-O-Matic.
Is Cat another Kathy?
Not sure. Let's see. Keyboard shortcut Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, you can custom in the tray. Click the Screencast-O-Matic icon. There's a drop-down menu under the camera icon. Under Shortcut tab, enter the keyboard combinations you'd like to use. Let's try that. Let's see where. I had Screencast-O-Matic open somewhere. Well, let's pull it up again. Okay, it said the next to the camera. Let's check preferences. Ah. Pause hotkey is alternate P.
Ah.
Mark timeline, countdown, control bar. Oh, hotkey. That's draw and zoom. Huh. But I don't see an option to start and stop. You can pause the recorder with an Alt P.
Alt P.
And you can change that
Alt
if you, yeah, you can change that. But I don't see a way to start the recording initially with the screen with that. But that's not so much of an issue with Screencast-O-Matic, because once you have the Screencast-O-Matic recorder up, you still have control over your screen, and you can go to PowerPoint and set everything up while the screencast recorder is sitting there waiting for you. Then you can start the recording after you have everything set. So you don't so much need a keyboard start shortcut to start the recording. But once you do start it, and you count down, yada, 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 5 tips for listening well, then Alt P, hold down the Alt key and hit P, and you're paused. And to start up again, you just hit record.
Oh.
Okay, and I just restarted after pausing, and Alt P will allow me to pause anytime. There, I'm paused. It does count you down every time. Now I'm starting. Now I start again. So the only minor aggravation there is having to, every time you pause, you have to wait for it to count you down again. Make sure you're ready. With most of the other tools that have keyboard shortcuts for pause, it pauses, and then when you hit that same key sequence again, it starts up again instantly. You don't have to wait for it. So, and then you also always have the little pause button down there as well. I'm just gonna trash that one. Okay, good questions. What would you do for a real class like you are teaching?
Oh no, that was an answer to someone who asked a question about if they had to create a video, do they have to be professional or be creative? And I was just giving advice that they can be creative, just make it like something that they might do in a class.
Oh, you mean for the 2.7 assignment?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I mean, the only requirement for you to use this is that you produce something that you feel will be instructive for your students. I mean, you get to decide what's useful and what's not, and you know that from your subject matter. You know what will help students and what won't. So, in a real class, if you're teaching a class with students in it, anything that you can do that you think will be valuable to the students is a great thing to do. And as you see, you can create screencasts, several screencasts an hour if you need to. So you can really create enough content that your students will really find it useful. And then it's quite fast to link that content into Canvas. Again, that's another session. So if you have questions about that, now I'll answer them certainly. But I think most of the people who are still here have been through that session with me before and know how to do that. But if you have questions, I'm certainly willing to answer. Okay, how about some more questions? Can't wait to try this. That's what I want to hear. Let's go and start screencasting. You're lost. You're a junkie now. Randy, saw you have your hand up.
Yes, sir, please. Regarding Zoom, I do not currently have a Zoom account, but I need to set one up ASAP. So you recommended to go to conferzoom.org. So
you bet.
My question is, after I set up that account, can you use it immediately, or do you have to wait a day or two, or what?
You have to wait until they get back to you. I had somebody tell me the other day when this question was asked in an earlier session, and I had somebody go and actually do that during the session, and I got an email back from them about 10 minutes later, right after the session was over. They said, I already got my account. I'm ready to go. So apparently they're turning it around a lot faster than they were for a while. Back when we were first, everybody was going online and everybody wanted a Zoom account all at the same time. It could take 2 or 3 days or longer for them to get back to you. But now apparently they're turning it around pretty quickly again. So I suspect that if you send that in this afternoon, you'll probably have it by the end of the day, or maybe almost immediately.
Okay, also, what the heck was I going to ask you? Oh, in going into sign up for that conferzoom.org, will someone with my limited computer skills be able to do that alone or not?
Well, once you get the account, it's just a regular Zoom account. And remember, we have that.
Yeah.
Actually, I would just start playing with it, because you've seen enough Zoom meetings that you got a pretty good idea of how to do that. But we also have this Zoom Basics tutorial page here on our on-demand site. And this starts with how to get the account.
Okay.
And then goes through trying to make no assumptions about prior experience.
You think I would be able to set up that account on my own without any help to set it up?
You don't have to set it up. They set it up. All you have to do is fill out the form.
Oh, okay.
They'll set it up for you.
Oh, okay. All right.
And they'll send you directions on how to use it. It's just basically, go to zoom.us and start. And but that's in this video right here, starting a Zoom meeting. They'll send you this information in text as well. I think they have a video tutorial as well. They'll send you that information that you need. If you have any questions, get in touch with me. If you want to try it, the best way to learn Zoom is to practice with it by practicing with someone, start up a meeting and bring somebody else in. If you want to send me an email, we can set up a time to do that. And you can start the meeting. Obviously, you can join a Zoom meeting. So we can set up a time for, we can get together individually and I can walk you through that process. So yes, you definitely can get that started up and it's not going to be something that's going to be too difficult for you at all.
Well, to show you my skills, when you earlier today showed that 2.67 or whatever it was out of that thing we're doing on our own, what's that called?
Oh, the online faculty certification program.
Okay, I've set up that thing, but I've never gone into it yet to even open it because I'm scared to death of it. And what you showed earlier on the screen at 2.67 or whatever that was, I was so damn lost I didn't know what to do.
You can do it, Randy.
I'm afraid, I'm quite serious. I'm afraid that's going to be the end of me right there, that whole session.
I don't think we've ever had a recorded fatality.
Look at this face. I'm afraid.
And they start real gradual.
Well, you were already
gradually ramp up the difficulty as you go along.
Yeah, but you were only in chapter 2 of it, and I was so damn lost, I didn't know what to do.
Well, that 2.7 assignment does come fairly early in it, but you have the option now to skip over that and move on to other things until you get more comfortable with everything.
Really?
Good, good.
Yeah,
And
they wouldn't let you do that before, but you can now. But it's not going to be that difficult to get started, and when you have questions, we'll be here to answer them. So we've had, oh gee, I forget how many people, well over 1,000 faculty get through that course over the years, and they've come with all sorts of different backgrounds and levels of experience and things like that. The less experience you have with computers and with instructional technology, the longer it will take you. But it's designed to pick you up at a point where you basically, we try to make no assumptions and move forward from there, and gradually work your way up to where you're able to create your own online courses.
And if we have a problem, we can contact you.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
I'll be talking to you.
So get started. I'll look forward to it. Get started. Just go in and start reading. It's not going to be impossible. I'll promise you that.
Randy, I've been through it, but I've also heard other people, like some people, I think one person did it in 8 hours, which is what I was aiming for, but couldn't do it. And and there were people that were crying. They were struggling, and they were able to make it. But coming to this really, really helps. I can't, especially staying afterwards where people are asking questions about the modules, the little things that you're going to be tested on. And by hearing how hard it was for certain parts, I was like, there was something called 6.12, and at least 4 people asked Dave about it. Dave very patiently explained it. You know, he'd heard it before, and I'd heard it 4 times myself, so he must have heard it 40 times. But by my hearing the problems they were having, it kind of prepared me for, because like sometimes the instructions don't seem to make sense. And you can ask questions, but by being here, it really does prepare. It's like one of those things that you probably tell your students, just try it. You can do it. Truly.
All right.
Yeah, it's quite intimidating.
Yeah. I mean, there's one woman said she took her 200 hours. I know you can do better than that.
Well, everybody I've talked to said that when I kept hearing these quotes of 20 or 30 hours, everybody I've talked to said, it took them 60 to 100 hours, and they weren't kidding.
Yeah. Well, everyone is different.
The average is a little less than that. I assure you.
All right, well, I'll give it a shot and hope for the best.
Absolutely. And when people have taken excessive amount or extreme amounts of time, it's generally because they've been held up on something and they just couldn't figure out how to get past it. And that's what we're for. If you get stuck, let us know. We'll get you over that. We'd much prefer to hear from you and help you over that hump than to have you just sit there, and climbing it and falling back down and so on like Sisyphus. So by all means, get in touch with us and we will help you over that. We won't let you, if you contact us, we won't let you stay stuck for excessive amounts of time.
All right, and I've been on here for 4 weeks with you every single session, so I'll be continuing to do that and simultaneously do that assignment. And that way I can at least reach you like I am right now.
Well, and you can always ask questions about that at the end of each session. I mean, we're taking general questions now. If you have one about the training course, I'll certainly take it. Margaret did ask, and this is vis-a-vis or in relation to that feedback that Kathy gave, in that 2.7 assignment, do I need to be very professional or can I be creative? I have seen a wide variety of submissions in there that range from very stodgy to incredibly creative. And I got to tell you, the creative ones are much more fun. So be creative. If it's useful to your students, do it.
But
and they'll if you get a little out there, that within don't break any laws or any serious barriers of good taste. but by all means, be creative. Your students will learn more and they'll have a lot more fun. So be creative. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I did this yesterday at my favorite place that I like to go walking, and the wind was blowing and there was a lot of noise, but I was able to talk over that. Is that okay?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay.
I love to see those videos where people have used their smartphones as to capture a learning moment when they were just out and about somewhere. That's just about my favorite kind of instructional video, because it leverages that video studio that you have in your pocket. And you may capture something that, you'd never see again or something like that. And you pull that phone out and do that's wonderful. Somebody submitted one where they were on a beach somewhere and they found sea turtles nesting and coming out of the sand. And they just happened to be there and they were filming it and so on and sharing it with their students. It was one of the best videos that I've seen out of the hundreds I've graded. Yeah, those are wonderful.
Okay.
And that is far more than acceptable. That is terrific.
Okay, I will go ahead and get it captioned and then send it on. Thank you.
Just upload it to YouTube, edit the captions, and you're done.
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, I just want to know you know how to do it. So.
Well, I've listened to the video on how to do it many times, and I stop it, and then I do it, and then I stop it, and I do it. It's great. Thank you.
I can't wait to see it. I hope I get to grade that one.
Oh, you'll have to guess where I am, because I'm not going to tell anybody.
Okay. That's terrific. Yeah, that is just a wonderful thing. And keep in mind, you're walking around, you've got that smartphone with you. You can create some or record some amazing instructional videos that illustrate topics that you're covering in your course anyway. And those are, like I say, some of the most effective instructional videos I've ever seen.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks for your
How
help,
about
Dave.
some more questions? Sorry?
Thanks for your help. I'm going to go ahead and run. After this session, I think I'm going to go pour a beer.
All right. Hoist one for me, will you?
Coming over, Randy.
All right. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Oh, you know what? I have one quick question.
Please.
In one of the submissions I'm in the online certification program, but I'm also in one of those flock programs.
Right.
I don't know if it's just the math department that's doing it or whatever, but it's
no, that's
side by side.
Pretty widespread, yeah, I think.
Okay. And I wanted to post a picture as part of my comment. And, I didn't know until yesterday that students can upload files into Canvas as like a library of their files,
Yes.
Because as a teacher, I have a files listing on my menu.
Right.
But this class, the flock one, the way it's set up, doesn't have anything for files. And so I actually looked it up on Google.
Good for
and
you.
Found that under my picture,
right,
I have a drop-down menu and I can upload stuff. But is that what I would have to do in order to access the picture that I wanted to put into the submission?
No, you don't have to do that, but you could. Let me get out of me again.
I mean, yes, I know how to link to something like on an external URL, but this wasn't that. It was on my computer.
Yeah, you wanted to put a an image into a post in a
Right.
discussion,
Right.
yeah, you can just go to the discussion, probably link to it through a module. I'm just taking a shortcut here. And you can hit reply. And you have the full rich content editor here. If you want to put a picture in a discussion post, you might have some text in there as well, but if you want a picture there, and the picture is in a file on your local computer, you don't have to upload it separately. You can put it in right from here by just going to this tool right here in the rich content editor, where it's a little hard to see with the cursor over it, but it's named embed image. And it looks like it's like a little mountain range with a little star up above it. But click that tool, click that tool, and go to the Canvas tab. Here's the secret.
Okay.
I don't know why they have this URL tab first. This would be something that was already online that you wanted to link to. But normally you're going to upload the file to Canvas and have it display in that discussion post. You just go to the Canvas tab, say, you can put it in either course files or my files.
Oh. So
if
I can
you're,
have it look it up right on my hard drive.
Yeah, but you got to pick that. Probably you're going to put it in my files. If this is not your course, if you're a student in the course, you're going to put it in my files. And then there's an upload file button that lights up. You click that, it brings up a file dialog, file find dialog. You just go to wherever you have the picture stored on your computer.
Perfect.
Click open. We would like to see you add some alt text.
Yeah.
In case a blind student is using this. And then you just update. And that appears right there. And it's a part of your discussion post.
I don't know why I did that, went to embed image, and then I just couldn't figure out why or where to go from there. So I needed to click on Canvas.
They have to ask you where you want to store that file, because it has to be uploaded to Canvas. But you don't have to do that as a separate process. It'll just do that for you. You just have to tell it where to put it. My files is always fine. And and then don't forget to post reply.
Yeah.
Otherwise you lose it. But there it is, and everybody can see it.
Thank you.
You are certainly welcome. That's what we're here for. Anybody else got anything?
That is everything I can think of for today.
Right.
My brain is like,
and it's Friday.
And it's Friday.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks so much,
My
Dave.
pleasure.
All right.
I hope I'll see you all again soon. Next.
You can count on it.
For 3 more next week.
All right.
So.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Have a nice weekend and stay safe.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.